Good morning, everybody. This is Good Servant here with Kris for an episode of Raw Talk. And comments in the comments section to help sharpen us up. Hit like and subscribe. Please share this show to anybody you think would be even least bit receptive to a message. You know, sham, truth, the Bible, being a Christian. We're going to try to make it like a pretty leisurely conversation just between two guys that anybody could get involved with. So that's the purpose of this show today, and I'd like to talk to Kris. And one question that I'd like to ask you. This is Rightthe Hand. Please, subscribe to his channel. I think it's an important channel with some important videos, you know. But one thing I'd like to ask you is, I know that you do these ballers, you know, and when I say baller, I'm not talking about like a regular person. When I say baller, I'm talking about these people that know it's flat and they're just straight dishonest and always looking for a way to trick you and they get to this level with you when you try to debate them where they get stuck and they're stuck in their little answer and it gets frustrating. It gets frustrating and I'd like you to maybe talk about that or talk about how that feels or bring some enlightenment to that.
Yeah, I mean it's how it feels is it's like it's beyond frustrating. It's almost, I've spoken to you about this on how it's like it's a controlled opposition. These they're put in place and it's like, you know, no, to me no real human, if I'm like, hey, and if just for context, we were talking about the wind affecting a flag, right? And I was like, could I cover the flag so with a structure so wind couldn't affect it? No real human would be like, well, what kind of structure? What do you mean? No, that's what you a real human would be like, yeah, you could build something around. It's just once you start getting into these like those type of answers, that's where I'm like, I don't think I think you're dealing with like a script. Doesn't it seem that it seems to me that if no real person would say this, then where is it coming from?
It's like they get involved in these weird technicalities, right? They're like, well, that depends on the coefficient of the atmosphere at the time of the structure, and if the structure is porous, then obviously the wind would, and there's always wind around the flag because air is wind, and they always go into these like weird kind of descriptions and these weird kind of answers and here's the thing, a guy like you won't slip up, right? But like, say the average new flat earther, obviously you know you have the truth on your side, and the person you're debating doesn't. So you get excited, right? Oh, I'm gonna go debate this guy, and that's how they trap you. Is they'll say these little technicality deals and try to get you to slip up, you know?
Oh
And
yeah, you
go ahead.
absolutely, man. You even said it like you would. I think you were talking to Tom once, and you were like, "Oh, they're looking for like you yeah the technique like they're trying to find something in the conversation or
So they,
use a tactic, instead of just talking, instead of just just walk with me here. If we're having a conversation, it's just like two people walking. I'm not looking where I'm going. We're seeing where it goes, because you're going to ask me something, and if my defenses are up, right, I'm going to be like, every time you ask me, I'm going to start thinking ahead, like, oh, okay, well, if he means this, then what do I go, and then it just makes for not a good conversation. It's like an interview almost, and it's robotic to me. I'm just like, bro, just talk to me. Don't what are you worried about? And that's what it's like. I'm like, if you need to do these things, these tactics, these debate things that that they do, that we know they do, they're doing, like you said, to trip up new people, and fight the flat earth. He's one of the best at this. He got me when I first went on his show. He's all these jargon terms, and all this, these
know what
like
that means,
converse.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. You're just like, what, huh? Huh?
Like,
What?
haven't studied particle physics yet. I mean, theoretical particle physics is different than particle physics.
Yeah, I'm
You
like,
know,
yo, can we just talk?
like, can't we talk about? Do you think the wind touches the flag? Like, well, what kind of particles are you talking about?
Oh, bro, I'm like, come.
Being shot at it. It's just I know, and I know that I'm kind of making like not even really like that great of analogy here. I wish I could think about some of the stuff they actually really do, and it's like here's the thing. Like I remember I was watching an experiment done by, I think it was oh, what's that guy's name? I can't think of his name now, but he went and did a mirror test, 13 miles, and also Mr. Thrive and Survive, Mr. Thrive and Survive, and he did a line of sight mirror test, 13 miles across. No, yeah, 13 miles across the water, right? And I'm like, wow, that's, I mean, how can you argue with that? It's right there. And he did it both ways. So just in case they argued refraction, they can't argue.
Right, it's bending down one way and up the other way.
Right, right. So he did it both ways, right? I'm like, well, what can you argue with on that? And he even did the like the temperature in like I think it was like inches of mercury or something, and very technical stuff, right? And it really wasn't that technical of a thing. It's just a mirror across the water, and and these ballers are like, oh well, he didn't actually get all of the atmospheric conditions that he could have gotten, and so it's not an official experiment. But I'm like, well, look what it. But I mean, the
Just
mirror.
look, yeah.
You say that, right? At least you say we could see the mirror, and that there's no test where you can show us where you can't see the mirror. You know, like doesn't that register with you? Is it it's true? Or are you caught up on the technicalities? Oh, he forgot to take the wind. He forgot to take the wind into account on that one. You know.
They want you, yeah, they want you to think that, like, what was one of the things I hear a lot from them is like, oh, that's not that's an improper observation, or that observation is not valid. I'm like, how are you going to say what somebody sees, like when you bring up like where the horizon is, and you're like, oh well, yeah, well, of course when you're on the shoreline it's going to look, of
Right.
course it will. I'm like, yeah, because
That's
okay.
not a bad opinion. That's not something that's nominal. That's nominal right there. It's
Yeah, they
like
just
everything.
like, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's a problem. You're close to the ground, so it's okay.
Like, oh yeah, well, I should be able to feel some stuff. Oh, do it. Oh, that's just nominal right there. That's
Yeah,
you
yeah,
need to
that's
know.
it. Yeah, they'll always say that. No, the spin on nominal. Yeah, yeah. Well, the movement through space on it's nominal. We see the same
Maybe.
stars nominal. You're just like,
Yeah,
bro, come on.
what's the other
That's
one? Like, oh, it's where they say that you don't have to figure it in. You know, like, oh, that's what do
oh,
they say?
yeah, it's only 2%. Don't worry about it. The diffraction, like, from like angles and stuff. Like, they'll say that, like, oh, it's, you don't even need to. You don't even need
You,
to figure in on a.
you wouldn't feel the spin, all that motion. You wouldn't feel flying around the sun. You wouldn't feel the 11 different vectors and four orbital motions that have um what do you call it? I want to say it. A circle has a certain amount of something built in it. It's in motion, right? Like you got angular motion, angular velocity built
Mhm.
into it's a circle, right? And so like you're saying, I won't feel that. That's all nominal. That's all. It doesn't matter. And then they'll say the same thing about curve. Oh, you don't have to factor that in. It's flat to the construction people. They don't ever factor that in. And oh, there's no star parallax. All that you wouldn't notice it anyway. But it's like if we lived on a ball, right, flying through the air, right, there would be evidence of that everywhere.
Bro, and this is like one of the things I've been told. I'm like getting on now is like, look, they to me at least, like these, and I've said the professional ballers, right? They know the Earth isn't a ball, right? Because like you said, if it was a ball, they wouldn't need to get onto these shows and tell us that it's a ball. You would just go out there and see it. So like that's to me is so obvious. So then it's like, okay, well, if it's not that, then what is it? Well, you got a lot of people like, look. I'm I can admit that thinking about flat Earth is ridiculous because I thought it when I first went into it. I didn't think it was ridiculous for a year. When you look into it, you're like, oh, okay. But that's what they need. They need that shield, like, so you don't even look into it. Because once you start honestly looking into it, that's it. Their whole the curtain has been drawn. You know what I mean? So as long as they can keep somebody who is like honest and it's like, well, maybe the Earth isn't a ball. Let me look into this. They send their people in and they're like, oh, distraction, distraction. Don't let that
Right.
person ever be alone with somebody who will, you know?
Well, the thing is right, like you can probably get someone to say, okay, yeah, we probably didn't come from a big bang, especially a Christian. Okay, the Big Bang's a obvious lie, right? And then you didn't come from monkeys, right? I can get some people to say that, especially Christians. Yeah, I didn't come from a monkey, right? I didn't evolve from a monkey. That's a lie. Well, then why would you take any other story from these people, right? They told you come from a monkey and you popped out of nowhere. Why would you believe the middle part that it's a ball? And not only that
That's
it's
interesting, that's
right,
interesting. I don't know.
interesting, right? And here's the thing, right? Not only is it like, yeah, that's great if you think about Earth, the planet's a rock or whatever, but that's not what they're saying. They're saying it's 70% of the surface is water. And it's like the Earth part is just a little crust for, all on the
Yeah.
ball.
And then more liquid molten.
Right, right. And then it's like, and then there's like air, right? An atmosphere with 14, what is it, 14.7, right? That's what they say, stuck
Who
to it.
knows?
I hate that number too now. And then so they have the air stuck to it, right? And it's flying through a vacuum of infinite size, right? At
That's
10,
getting bigger.
right? That's increasing. Yeah. What is the Earth doing, right, to combat that? The pressure getting lower and lower and lower. That's another story, right? Because the pressure would be decreasing all the time.
Sure, the volume's increasing. If the
And
volume's increase, and that good, I never even thought about it. The volume is steadily increasing. How is the pressure not decreasing? And
the force to
oh
to
my
to
God,
fight
it's just
that. And see, the
it's
thing is,
unbelievable.
they're like, oh well, gravity, and so everything you look into, gravity, atoms, what is air, what is water? Is water H2O? Can you add those things together and make water? Like, there's so many things that people believe, right? That that it's like just because they're told that or they heard it on TV or something. And what's frustrating is that I have built a lifetime of credibility with my family of being an honest person, a good person, spiritually lined up, doing the right thing, right? I don't like I try like not that I'm proud of my own works or anything like that because I know my works are garbage to God. I know that it's the work of Jesus Christ that gets me saved, right? But I work hard on my salvation for them. I mean, not on my. I work hard on my reputation for them, and they would choose to believe the television over me when they
And that
tell.
it's but only about the shape of the earth, right? Like, there's people like my mom. She is not her and her step husband or husband, whatever, my stepdad. They're not conspiracy theorists. But this whole COVID, the vaccine, I'm like, yo, I'm telling my mom, like, you don't think this is weird, the COVID, and she's like, yeah, I gotta admit, Kris, a lot of the stuff you say, and like, and I'm like, okay, and that's kind of conspiracy, but I'm like, the shape of the fucking earth, you've been on a plane, you've looked out windows, and it's just nothing. It's just, and what I think it is the it's like brainwashing, like, because it's almost like, no, it's implanted that the earth is a ball, so it's an entirely different, it's a belief system, whereas like the other things, because yeah, it's just, to me, it's very strange how some people can be so open Like there's even ballers I know that are, them, that are anti-vaccine. Like they're like, oh, I ain't getting no COVID vaccination. It's all bullshit, and then it's just like shape of the earth, no ball, and you're like, what? I don't
Right.
get it.
And it's insane because like once you know that it's not a ball, it's obvious that it's not a ball, you
And
know?
then everything crashes, because then it's like, oh well, China and Russia, America, they're in on it together. They all know the
Yeah.
same,
And
and then so then it's like the wars. What are these wars about? How are they fighting wars if they're all in on this lie about space together?
well, Chris, I mean, it's obvious now that we know, right? That like, of course, like America is going to say, "Oh yeah, those guys over there are the bad guys, and you need us to protect you from them," you know? And it's like a gang, you know? Like, yeah, we're your protection, so just keep paying taxes because those darn communists will come over here and we'll get them, you know? And then the other side is saying, "Oh, those evil capitalists, that's the devil or whatever." Keep doing what we're doing over here, or else they'll come in and try to beat us or whatever. And of course, we're seeing it as the scam that it really is, right? But the rest of the
Exactly.
world thinks that, oh yeah, I'm American, the whole country, we're all one team, and that's not what it is, man. There's nobody at the
Yeah,
top on your team.
exactly.
You
It's the
didn't come.
devil, bro. It's the fucking devil, and that's one of the reasons why I'm like, yo, uh, a lot of this debate, and that's where it's going. They're like, they don't want you to start talking about like, okay, well, once we get past the debate, then it's like, okay, it is flat, then God made it, right? And then you get into this stuff, and that's where the atoms start falling apart, light starts falling apart, and it's just you start building that connection to the creator, because picture if like every you used to think that like light was what they told you, and then you're like, wait, fucking light is like the creator, like that's. And then you used to think like trees use like light and chlorophyll, like no, that's like the creator's system, you start seeing the creator and like everything that's going on, and you
Right.
stop seeing man's like physical explanation that's all bullshit, and then it just starts elevating him in your eyes, and you're just like, damn, bro, it's like he gets more and more and yeah, that's just the connection to him that you get. Of course, if you knew you're living in his house, if everybody knew, like if you
And
just removed
really,
everything it would be a different world if everybody knew God was real and this was his earth. Like it would be a totally different state of mind. So, and that's
see,
what they want to keep it away from.
what gets me, two things, right, that I want to bring up to you right now, right? Number one, what gets me is like I'll go up to like a good Christian, even like my brother, he's a I think he's a solid Christian. I'm for sure in my spirit I feel like he's saved, but like I'll say something, like, hey man, maybe you should get into some of these topics because then you'll see that the world isn't what you think it is, and you'll be so much more relaxed, and you won't have to deal with that. And plus, you'll know that, hey, we're in the end, dude. This is it. Like you'll see it everywhere, right? And I get this reply like, well, I'm saved, so I mean, so why do I have to get involved with it? And I'm like, well, what about other people, man? Like, what about
Yeah,
all
that's
these
a big
lied to
big
every
part
day?
of it.
Like, yeah, and then like I might lose my youngest baby forever because the lies taught to him in school, his worldview, he can't even conceptualize a God even being real, and that's not his fault, it's my fault, but I didn't learn about flat Earth till 3 years ago, and I'm just lucky my oldest kid even is open to listening to me. I have a good relationship with both of them, and they both love me, but it's like getting them over to this hump is hard for me, right? And the second thing I wanted to bring up to you, right, is so number one, the explanation of I'm already saved, right? What does it matter? And number two is if you create a house and a yard and a bunch of structures in your backyard, right? And I say, okay, let's go figure out the cause and effect relationships with everything, how it was made. We're going to exclude Kris as the cause, right? And of course it's going to be bullshit little stories, right? It's like, oh, I think that this log jumped up and got nailed here, and I mean, come on, man, right?
That okay, yeah, I'll address those. I'll address them in order for the, oh, I'm already saved. Like, look, when uh, compare it to Christ, right? When Christ came to earth, he was already saved, right? Everything was already written and was already going to happen, and it has happened. But didn't he still have to get crucified? Didn't he still have to do all the miracles that he did? Yes. So you're the to say, oh, I'm already saved. No, because then it comes down to your purpose. Well, your purpose was to be created, get saved at 25 or 30 or 40, and then that's it. Just stop. No, your purpose doesn't stop until you stop. So as far as that aspect, I don't think you ever can just stop being saved. You know,
Or
and
help, or caring about another person, I mean, at the very least, right? Shouldn't somebody that I love say, "Hey, I better look into this stuff and see if my brother's crazy"?
that's another thing. I'm like, man, bro, like, if you say you love me, wouldn't you like put an interest into something that like clearly I'm showing like huge, like that is important to me?
Right? Like, don't you think about how I feel ever?
Yeah, no, but that's it's so funny, man. I'm telling you, I've had this conversation so many times with my mom and like brother trying to tell them, with this whole like, oh,
Weird
it's
though.
my lifestyle.
But it's
I'm just
weird.
like, yeah.
Like, why are we all having the same experiences thousands of miles away from each other with our own people, right? And you're like, oh man, that's exactly what I go through. I've even been through the whole thing where, hey man, give me 2 hours to at least explain things to you, and we'll be done with all this me bringing it up all the time. We've spent more time arguing about it than if I just sat down and did a little demonstration. You know?
No, yeah, it's and that's what I think makes it so special is that like everybody's going through the same thing. So then it's like, okay, that's how there's got to be some kind of uh reality to it, right? Because it's
Yeah,
man, I'm telling you, like it's like I say this or I'm like, yo, God is great, and then they're like, fuck God, and you're just like, wow, the Bible says that people like curse his name just for saying it, and you're like, I don't understand why you want me to just be like, oh, it's not real. So it's very mirroring of what they say will happen.
yeah. What? Look, so like, what does that make us then? Does that make us more special then? Because I can't even picture myself as being picked or chosen to be more special than anybody else. Like, I really haven't been that good of a guy my whole life. I mean, these last few
Well,
years, I've been really, really super dedicated to God, but I don't count that as what's going to get me into heaven. I mean, trust me, it would take me my whole life to make up for everything I've done in sin. And so why are
yeah,
the ones woken up to this stuff that we could see it plainly and they can't? Like, why is that? Why is it so weird, man?
Mind of God was talking about he was like, oh, you remember he's talking about George Hanuk, and he was like, well, like George might be a Satanist, but he was telling everybody that George reminded him of a character in the Bible, right? I think the tax collector or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I, so I think like the purpose, like how come some people, again, this might be a little complex, but if they're playing, like if this is a story, now picture maybe this story is, just built for you, right? Like maybe I'm fake, maybe I'm just playing my character for your story. You know what I mean? So these people who you're like, why can't they see? Why can't some people see? Maybe there are some real people, that's why they can see, but whatever. But they can't see because God created them not to, or maybe their position is to not see so that you are tested in a way. So that's my idea. Because but then again, I don't know, because like I didn't see it at one point and now I do. So it's such a hard thing. Yeah, and this is one of the main things that we even disagree on, like when do you give up on somebody, or like is it if they didn't get it in the first 30 seconds, how long do you spend trying to convince somebody that God is real and, salvation is there? You know,
I think I hang on too long, and especially like with my mom and my brother, they're saved, and I'm sure of it, just because I know that. Well, at least for my mom, I know that she's honestly seeking God, even though she might not understand everything fully. And I know my brother is pretty educated on the Bible, and he's been a pastor. Sure, he's had his mistakes and all that stuff in his life, but we all have, right? And so like
Sure,
I
yeah.
see what you say, but I'm like, well, why won't you go that next step further and see that where we are in the end time? Because I was telling my brother about, hey, this might be the end times, right? Because they're gonna make their moves. The whole world is in agreement right now, right? That's a scary thing, right? Every celebrity, every politician, every company, and all these CEOs left their companies a year ago, 1,500 CEOs. I'm like, they're making their move right now. You think there's no baseball and no football because of a flu? I mean, they make so much money, right? Right? It's like
Well,
that.
one world order. I mean, everybody will be in agreement, right?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Those celebrities aren't on the field playing football right now. They're underground somewhere, right? They are not around, bro. Right? Like here's the deal, man. They have to make their move. They've doubled down on this Corona thing 3 times, right? And they've now they have to make a decision of what are they going to do. um, is the Antichrist coming to fix this, or are they going to make a peace treaty in Israel? Are a lot of these prophecies in the end times going to happen pretty fast? Because mind of God, I'll tell you what, he came up with a lot of stuff about where we are in Revelations, and it's compelling. And not only that, but it feels right. You
Oh
know,
yeah, I think it's definitely, you know, if anything, I would say that I underestimated how much time is left. I would say probably, before, I would say, 50, 60 years. And now I'm like, no, no, no. I think it's going to be inside 20. And now, inside 10 when even, but again, like I don't try to speculate too much, but I think that more speaks to the urgency at which we should, people who believe should be working with, like if it's, 10 years is not a long time to be able to establish something that can, get a lot of people saved and a message reaching a lot of people, like YouTube is good and these chats are good, but they're going to start shutting these down, once the one world order comes in, none of this is going to be there, so how are we going to still
censored.
preach the message and reach?
Well, see, we're already getting censored. I know that because me and Tom were growing pretty fast, right? We went from 80 to like 280 pretty fast, right? And then we got stuck. It's like we kept going up four, down two, up four, down two, and we got stuck in that 280 mark. And I noticed a couple other channels were kind of in that range too, right? And I'm like, why is it that it's not growing, right? And so I almost had to go to like each. I mean, and there's going to be listeners right now that are going to know what I'm talking about. I go into like videos that I watch, and I see a good little comment that I think matches our channel, and I'll say, hey, you know what? I'd really like you to come subscribe because I like the way you think, and maybe we'll even have you on the show, and that
Sure.
subs one at a time, pretty much, I mean, I think I just got lucky. I got 10 the other day that I didn't actually physically go out and get myself, but it's all with God's blessing because it's not just my work. I mean, this wouldn't work if it wasn't blessed because my own effort on this is really not that great. It's like the people have come together to make this a good channel, you
Yeah,
know.
no, I mean, I think like what we should do, like everybody, I know Pete Shea asks a lot, like, well, what do you know? What do we do from here? Where do we go? And I think
Communicate,
one
man.
of the things, yeah, we got to kind of start up. Like I've always been against the system in any capacity, but I'm like, look, they have this system of indoctrination and brainwashing and all this, and I think we need to create a very similar one, but that just teaches, what we
Well,
want to be taught, like
Chris,
our, and not flat earth, I don't mean fucking flat earth
well,
schools, but like good Christian schools.
check this out.
You know
I
what I mean?
wanna bring this up to you because this is kind of important, right? Like, so I was looking into mailing lists, right? And John LeBon does this, right? And he's so good at marketing his own stuff, right? that like he really is like a good salesman, right? But I we don't do ours for money, right? And so we just want to grow. And so I talked to this guy about a mailing list. It's going to cost me like $45 a month, right? And if anybody in the all the subscribers, if they want to join the mailing list, right? As soon as the YouTube shuts us down, right? Then we can send our videos, our little clips every day via email so they can watch them, you know? And
No,
that's
I
fun.
like it. Yeah.
And it's like our own little channel. Say we could even like have one specifically for our own channel, and then we can have one that's like, a combination of three channels, or whatever, that are pretty solid channels, and get them to sign up for that and have like an even bigger platform that we send all three of our videos every day or whenever we make them, and that way you take YouTube out of the game and you won't have to worry about video storage, none of this stuff, right? It's all stored in email.
Yeah, no, and it's, I think that's, it's like how if you have a church, they have like their membership,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
congregation, yeah, that's, why are we like, look, I got 288 subs. I could name 10 of them, like I don't know these,
Oh,
I
I
don't
do.
know these people. You get what I'm saying? So I
Yeah,
think that's like,
yeah.
I want it to be like, look, everybody knows I used to stand up comedy, and if you ever watched anybody that does stand up comedy and you like them, you'll probably go every time. You're like, oh, he's got a new routine out. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely gonna go watch that. You know what I mean? So like, and that's what the kind of message, or those are the kind of people we're looking for. Like, we want people that want to hear these messages and are like, nah, some people are on my fucking channel just to leave shitty comments, right? Like they fucking wait for me to put a new video. Probably don't even want. I'm sure they don't watch the video, or maybe just
You know
push
what?
play and then, oh, you suck.
Yeah, right
That's
away.
it.
Way.
Yeah, right. That's it.
Just release it, and it's been out 2 minutes, and it's already a comment downvote, and then
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you don't understand science. You're like, I didn't even say nothing yet, man. And it's what I've done is I just banned those guys because you know what I've realized is that like those guys aren't subscribers. They don't subscribe to my channel. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they're just. It's like if you're
Yeah,
doing, they're hecklers. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It would, like if you're
just
doing a set, they're just
ban.
like, blah.
If someone is in the chat saying, because I had Paige on the other day, and I'm extremely proud of her growth in the last 3 years. I mean, she's grown a lot, right? And I think that should
Oh
be
yeah,
taken
yeah. Good
into account.
stuff.
But they want to, and she's a little baby Christian now, She's like, you know, it, she's gone to that point. It's hard to get there when you're a truther. You don't know what's true and what's not. But then you get all these hecklers calling her all kind of names and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? Especially women go through a worse because, they have to hear all this extra stuff, especially from these anonymous little weasels out there, all these little science perverts,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
no, I
I,
hear, bro, and I'm like that, to me that tarnishes the message, and I'm like, we don't need that,
we don't.
and it's that's their only purpose. So yeah, like I think definitely, like, I like that idea of a mailing list, and uh, or some way of just having, yeah, the connection to the people that like your stuff, and you're just like, yo, or even a website, isn't a bad idea, but just
They could shut down. If you
yeah,
have a mailing
exactly.
list, it's like I have all your emails, right? Say it's like 400
With
emails or whatever.
with
Well then,
fucking physical emails, I'll send you you
right?
know, we'll
I'll
send you
send you
fucking
our
a monthly newsletter.
I'll send you our chats, and and I'll find a way to like even do like a meetup here and there, or something.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, definitely. Well, one of the things too is they're always going to want you to be like
Yeah,
content,
you know,
you know. So I think, yeah, continuing the growth is an uh,
and
important avenue. Right?
subscribers, because if you get knocked down, it's hard to build that back up again, man.
Oh yeah, if they ban your channel, yeah, man, to start from freaking zero again and have to
That's
do
just
that whole stuff, and just the real, and it happens enough times, you're just like, fuck it. You know, I'm just like, and that's what they were hoping for. You know, they're hoping to get it to the point where people are just like, bro.
I just want to say to my audience, I'm sorry for the F bombs and everything, but Kris is a solid dude. Kris is a solid dude, and he's grown so much. Like we only can start where we start from, and Kris is a friend of the show, and I know his heart, and so we all are where we need to be in life, right? I'm not embarrassed about it, but I mean I need to say something to the crowd, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, I hear you.
You're one of my
But yeah,
heroes.
no, I
You're
think
like
that's
you're like a super genius science guy, right? That like always gets kicked off of places because they get stuck, right? And they can't go any further, and all they do is try to irritate you, so you blow up, so they can say, "Oh, he did it again. He did it again.
yeah,
I
yeah.
prove gravity, but he blew it for I was just about to prove the theory of relativity, bendy space time, and then Kris had to do it. Now I forgot what I was gonna say.
No,
So
and
like,
I think that speaks volumes of to like, you know, why we need you know, I don't know if you know Pete and Peter, right? Have you ever seen any of their
water,
videos on YouTube?
yeah,
Yeah,
water,
yeah.
yeah.
So you know, they do, you know, I'm sure they do the same thing of keeping uh dumb assholes off their fucking channel, or else you'll just have, you know, these people, you know, they stop the good conversations between like me and you or me and Rubik's, you know, on the in the comment section because they just fill it up with their fucking garbage that we don't want to hear, you know.
Well,
And then
Rubik
you're banning us.
Tuesday, and and that's your day, right? On our show, we have you on usually every Tuesday, and that'll be a good conversation because you guys can discuss superheated water and how water doesn't break down to oxygen and hydrogen. And also, he had some pretty compelling stuff to say about the gas exchange between plants and human beings and animals, is that
Mm-hmm.
it's not enough, like our air has to be coming from God because there's not enough. I mean, yes, we live in a symbiotic kind of environment that everything kind of needs each other, but there's just not enough gas exchange between to replace everything that we use, and there's definitely no source on Earth except for like the soil, maybe like where nitrogen comes from, and that's okay. I think air is air, but they say nitrogen is most of the air, right? Well, if you
Right,
don't
and that's
have,
inner.
yeah, but if you
It's
don't
just
have a way
always
to replenish it, right? If you don't have a way to replenish all this nitrogen, well, then how are you replacing it? Like you have to have a mechanism for that.
you know, and again, to just to tie it all, because I gotta go in here, but to tie it all into the main point is, you know, that conversation, you know, will never happen except on a channel, you know, that's open to, you know, you get a baller on there and want to start talking about superheated uh water and, you know, all this stuff and where the air is coming from, and, you know, like, because yeah, I mean, if the earth is alive and these all these plants aren't making, you know what I mean, because they'll be like, oh well, 80% of the oxygen you breathe actually comes from marine plants. And I'm like, fucking what? Like they're
Yes,
the marine plants, they're underwater, you know?
right.
So what, water evaporates into oxygen? I thought it was, you know, it just, so I thought it was what,
It
it
doesn't.
just stops. It's fucking bullshit, you know? So again, yeah, they just want to keep you in that like same cage of knowledge, which isn't even, you know, it's all bullshit, but you know,
Well,
oh,
like
don't,
all of science is wrong. I mean, I can't believe that
unbelievably.
science. No, but I can't believe that all these science people and all these scientists and all these biologists and all these chemists don't know this, or are they just really, really deceived, or is like really there's more liars than there are us, you know?
There was man, I hold on. A mind of God had put the quote, and it was like, you know, it's from the Bible about how like people smart will be stupid, good will be evil, you know, and it's,
Will
yeah, the
become
people that are, yeah, exactly. It's you know, me and you, we're no super geniuses, and not to me. I think we're just like, we just are regular normal people, and they're just, they've just reversed the world into making it seem like the people that are so smarter or who are really stupid are smart. Oh,
They,
space-time bends. Whoa.
well, here's the thing, Kris. There's two types of smart people, right? There's one type of smart people that want to get to the like where's the common denominator that's the truth, like there's smart people that want to get to that. And then there's the type of smart person that will use their brain as a way to get an advantage on people, right? They use it for as
Hmm.
a tool to get over on someone.
So they
And
don't have to work.
like that's their thing that makes them special, right? But like I don't look at my intelligence, right? I think I'm smarter than most people, but I don't think I'm like a super smart guy, right? I mean, it's nothing that I think really stands out, but I feel comfortable in any conversation. But here's the thing, right? Like I don't go around trying to convince people of stuff that's not true in order for me to get an advantage of you. Like winning is not important to me. The truth is, you know? And so, but to them, I don't think they see life that way. Like these business gurus and everything, yeah, they might make a move that's like, oh, that's a pretty shrewd business deal, that you made, buying all that property very cheap over there. But what you don't understand is like you've just ruined 10 people's lives, because you got over on them and they didn't get full value. So like you have no concern for them losing their retirement, their house, their kids' college money, none of that, right? You just made a shrewd deal, and now in your bank account is like the trophy for that.
Exactly. Because all they want is more money. They don't want to
It,
help people.
let's round out. Let's round out. I just want to, number one, thank God and Jesus Christ for his sacrifice and grace. And I want to thank Kris for coming on the show. Please subscribe to Right the Hand. If he can get 4 or 5 subs out of this, I'd be so happy. I would be grateful. And you know what? To some of our subscribers, where I consider you guys my family, sometimes just sharing or subscribing to people, sometimes that's enough. That's enough to be part of it. And so I really do have love for the people out there. So I just want to say see you later, and see you later, Kris. You have any final thoughts? Are we good?
Yeah, we're good, man. Good talk, and just praise God for His work, and
Right,
don't give all the credit to man.
that's right. No credit to man, all credit to God. God bless you, buddy.
Exactly.
All
All right,
right.
man. Good talk. Later, bro.